For those of you that haven't been here before, welcome. Hello. We here at LAD, I try to be as absolutely transparent as I can be in everything that's going on. So I like to share a lot of statistics, a lot of the trends of where we're going, everything about our financials, new program features, everything that we're doing in LAD, I try to cover here. This can be as interactive as you would like. So if you have any questions or you would like clarification on things that we're discussing or talking about, please just go ahead, break on in, grab yourself off mute and then ask that question. And I would be so happy to answer that and kind of make sure that you're feeling comfortable and good with the information that we're sharing. So absolutely any questions you have, just go ahead and shout them out as we go. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Typically on these updates, what I like to do is share the month in review, the update from the prior month. So the month of February, all the stats that we have that are pertinent to know kind of the trend that we're going, where we're going. Then into some volunteer type information, program information, and then finishing it up with our financials and kind of going on that pace. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I like to talk about is our recipients. These are the people that we are writing to. And for February, we had a benchmark month. We had 85 new recipients in the month. That's almost 3 new recipients a day. And one of the most amazing things is that even though it's been so busy with the number of people signing up to receive letters, the number of people that are signing up to write letters is also increasing. So we are doing very well. Last month for January, we had 56 new recipients. So that was a 52% increase this month in people signing up. And when we look back a year ago from today, or from February, we had 33 that month. So it's a 157% increase over last year. At the end of February, we had 985 active recipients. So our active recipients are the people that are still receiving letters. So when you sign up to receive letters with LAD, you will get letters as long as you update your story with us and want to continue with us. So since we've started, we've had 2,625 recipients sign up in the last 8 years, basically. And of that, we still write to almost 1,000 of them. That number seems to hover right around that 1,000. When we look last year this time we had 2,268. So we've added 357 recipients in the last year, which last year we were focusing a lot on the program piece and getting the foundation in place that we can go ahead and blast our message to find more people. So in a year, we've had 357 recipients sign up, but truly we've had 141 basically that have signed up just the last 2 months alone. So that trend is going amazing. We've had 41 people update their profile in the month of February. It's roughly a little over 1 a day. Those are people that it's been longer than a year since they've updated or told us about their story. We had them renew that process. Last year, about this time, it was 35. So we're getting more people that are continuing to stay on with us further than just the 1 year time. We're going to go ahead and transition over to our volunteer information. We had 391 new volunteers in February. When we look at last month, it's about a 14% increase from last month, but it's right on pace from last year. A lot of our targeting that we've done with the foundation building in the last year has really been finding those that need the hope and support. So we seem to be doing about the same each month with the number of volunteers signing up. So one of the things that we'll be tasked with in the next few months is looking for how do we increase that even more. Although I will say having almost 400 new volunteers, that's over 10 a day signing up to write with us. So we're really going to look for a couple of things on volunteers. One, how do we get them to be more engaged, where we have more people writing more letters that sign up? And in addition to that, how can we find more volunteers to engage and come back with us? We had 246 active volunteers for the month. Active just means that in the month of February, when we look at all the people that submitted hugs, letters, from a volunteer perspective, 246 people interacted with us as a volunteer for the month, which is about a 37% increase from last year. And right now we're averaging about 3 letters per volunteer for the month. So the 246, we're averaging about the 3 letters. So that's great. Now we need to look at how can we get more of those volunteers active for the month. We had 2,067 volunteer hours recorded for February. This is a 128% increase from last year. Basically, for those that know, when you write a letter, when we get it here, we record that in the portal. It goes to your account, and then we assign a total number of service hours on it based on how long it is, how personalized, maybe the artwork that you did on it. And those numbers continue to go up. We've become a very consistent source for high schoolers and others to do virtual volunteer work to get their service hours recorded for scholarships or college applications and things like that. So being able to keep track and monitor and be able to provide validation and verification on those service hours has been a huge part of being able to get the high school population, college population to want to volunteer with us. And as of the end of February, we had 7,132 volunteers that have signed up for access to the portal, which is about a 75% increase of where we were last year. So trending well on volunteers. Definitely want more volunteer engagement. We are working on that. We've had different pieces that we've been looking at over the last year, and definitely looking to have people write more letters longer with us and being able to stay on. So things like Kim's starting of the newsletter, different ways, these updates, different ways that we can connect with the volunteers and be able to continually update them and remind them that we're here, and being able to want them to stay on. Next, we have our mail sent information. So we sent 810 letters in February. It's a 70% increase over last year, which was already a big year last year. So for the first 2 months of this year, we've sent over 800 letters both months, January and February. Last year, the highest we had 1 year that just hit, or 1 month that just hit 700. So this is a huge increase over what we were doing prior. We're almost 100% of an increase from January, February last year to January, February this year. So amazing work. We've been able to go up higher. And that really, when we start talking about our goals, that's really factoring into, we're going to be sending more letters as we go throughout the year. And then hopefully we're able to translate that to getting hope and support to more people faster. We had mentioned a little bit earlier, we had just under 1,000 people that we write to. So we haven't quite hit the 1 letter per month, but we're definitely trending in that direction, and that's where we want to go. We had 100 cards that were sent out in February, 94 birthday cards and 6 holiday cards. The 2 holidays that we had were smaller ones, Holy and St. David's Day, that just passed. So the next one's coming up. We have a bunch of holidays here in March, and then also April obviously is going to be another big holiday month. We are now averaging 32.5 letters and cards sent per day. That's over 10 higher than we were last year. So we're definitely sending more and more out. The great thing is that we've been able to absorb that pretty much as we've gone through. So it hasn't created issues where we've been unable to get things out the door as of yet. So we've been able to kind of absorb that growth great. 709 of those letters and cards were mailed here to the United States. That's a postage expense of $411 for stamps. And then 201 letters and cards were mailed internationally for $261. So for the month of February alone, just on stamps, that's $672 that we spent just on stamps. And since we began, we've sent a total of 33,951 letters and cards. I'm really thinking with March, with all that we'll be sending, we may break that 35,000 mark in the next month. Our volunteers, we had 10 volunteers that actually had done more than 25 hours of service, basically almost an hour a day or more of service time. So obviously we have Dee Dee, our powerhouse writer, who is absolutely amazing, had done 244 hours. Kimberly Long had 69, Emma 64, Saucy 53, Natalia 38, Nancy 29, Kylie 27, Cheryl 26, Morgan 26, and Laura 25. These are amazing because a lot of times these this is what's allowing us to be able to reach people quicker, is some of these volunteers that are writing multiple times. Everyone on this list has done more than 10 letters for the month. So kind of like on an everyday cadence, if not even more, they're sending in letters. So thank you so much to our top volunteers. Truly, we wouldn't be able to send out anywhere near what we do without you all. So I appreciate you all so much. All right, some program updates. We have 2 new board members, both on the call here. So Doreen and Kim have awesomely accepted being on the board of directors for Letters Against Depression. Doreen was serving as our fundraising committee chair. She will still be doing that as she takes on some additional board member work with us. Kim, who leads the Innovation Council and does like 9 trillion other things with us, as well, will be joining on the board and assisting us. And this is great. So this brings our board of directors to 5 individuals, myself, Kim, Doreen, Jennifer, and Deborah. And we definitely look to having more voices on that we can kind of look to. How do we keep retooling and bringing LAD along, in addition to adding to the programs that we do and the things that we do to make sure we're doing them the best we can. So really excited that they're joining on with us, and they've done amazing work this past year and more with us. So I really look forward to what we will be accomplishing together. We added a new request and update form within the last month. So when you sign up to receive letters or update your requests, you would go to the website, and before it was just a flat form. You saw all the fields there. It wasn't very interactive. You just input your stuff and it sends it along. In an effort of doing some automation and stuff, I retooled it and used another program to be able to build an interactive form. So basically when you go through, and anyone can play around with it as long as you don't submit it at the end, but you can go to the website at lettersagainst.org, and in multiple places there is the form to sign up or update your letter. So you would put in your name, and then as it kind of goes through the pages of walking you through how to sign up, it's using your name. It's very personal, and explaining the process as you go along. Once it's done, it will get approved here, and it sends you an email that will explain all of the data and what we do with it, because that's another thing we want to be, is very transparent with what we do with your data. When you're signing up, are people going to know my address? Are they going to get my email address? And all that's no. So you'll be able to see, okay, here is what, from your information you gave us, what volunteers can see, and here's the only things that admins can see as we're sending the letters to you. So we've tried to create it where you really know where your data is going. And you have the ability, when you get that confirmation, to read it over and make sure that there's no mistakes in it, that, oh, I didn't mean this, or no, the address, I mistyped it or something. You have that ability to kind of see that. So if you have the ability, go and check it out. It's a really neat interactive form to allow them to kind of go through all the steps to request or update their letter requests. We updated our celebrations program now. You can choose 2 celebrations for us to celebrate with you, with cards and crocheted hearts and things like that. So the list that we have is quite extensive, shown here. We ask as part of the sign up that if there's anything we're missing, that if someone's like, hey, I would love if you celebrated this, they're able to kind of give that suggestion as well, and we can add it to the list. So we've pretty much gone now, I think it's probably been over a year since we've had any requests to add. So I'm feeling pretty confident that what we have gives people choices. But if anyone does see any holidays that you're like, hey, we don't have that on there, I'd love to add that in as well, and be able to personalize. So One of the recent holidays that we just celebrated was Holi. So we were sending colorful cards with kind of celebration appropriate type messaging inside. We can really narrow down the message to what that celebration is for those people. So this has been going over really well. We continually get a lot of feedback that this really helps those know that, you know, this is tailored for them. It's kind of specific for them. So just a reminder, anyone that wants to send, or if any of these you're all like, I'd love to make cards for, say, Easter or Ramadan, Star Wars Day. If you want to create cards, handmade cards, or even celebration hugs to include with them, just go ahead on the portal. There is a celebrations tab. You can go there and have all the information of how to send those in, and then we can get those out, because we love to be able to send more. Some of these, like Easter, we have a lot of people, obviously, that connect with Easter as well, that have made handmade cards that we can send that are personalized to people. So if we're able to send 2, 3, 4, 5 cards to people, that would be amazing. It just, again, goes to show that they're not alone in this, and we can kind of celebrate with them their favorite days. We launched a grant writing team. Doreen has been instrumental in getting that going, and they've already been able to apply for multiple grants that we're awaiting word on. So grants are going to be a big part moving forward. Hopefully we're going to be able to shift the burden of needing to operate with individual donations and kind of moving more to corporate grants and funds. So she's been working on that, got a team together that they did training earlier last month to know what we're looking for, and they're scouring the Grant Gopher site that we have that allows them to do research into what grants are there to find what we would fit for and be able to apply for those. So that's an amazing program update. I can't wait to see, as we get feedback on the grants that have been submitted, on how those go, and hopefully going to lead to be able to fund further programs for us going forward.
Yes, the team is awesome. Just want to mention that real quickly.
Yes. Oh my gosh, seeing the submissions, I get I get the emails when they go through, and looking at the different applications that have gone out. Even Doreen, with you with the State Farm one, just absolutely amazing, the information they've been able to put together and present for LAD. So big thanks on that as well. Yeah. I've been working on automation. As some of you know, LAD is my passion on the side, but I do have a full-time job with Disney as a financial systems analyst, so my time isn't always 100% that I could put into LAD. So I've been trying to do some automation to take some routine tasks off my plate that I just can't give to others because of the nature of what they are. One of the things that we've been able to change is sending out nightly emails that batch together all of the letters that a volunteer has sent and sending one email. So if you had sent in 7 letters in one point, and I do them all on the same day, you would get 7 emails before with all the information for that letter that you sent. Now we're able to batch that together through automation. It takes less time, and the emails look amazing. So this is an example here. We have the header of thank yous. We have in the body the listing there that explains the letter numbers, LAD numbers, who you wrote to, the feedback, the service time, all that information's there. And then I can also batch together different things. Here we have the link to the portal, all about our specific goals for 2022, and other updates we want to include in that. And this goes out once a day. When the end of day is closed, batches everything together and sends out the 1 email per volunteer. So this is a big change that happened. It helps me out. Way back when we first started, I would actually send the emails after sending it out to each person, look at the email address, send the email. That was taking forever. We were able to automate it a little prior to this, but now we actually have a way that looks nice, it's presented well, and goes out without me having to touch each night. So this has been amazing. We have other automation going on where before, when a new recipient would request a letter, I had to type that into the portal to create the record because there was no way to link the form to the portal. But I have found through coding ways that I can take that information and create the record to do that. So now those pieces are also automated. So we're looking at pieces like that one by one that can take away those routine tasks that really I don't need to sit there and type these out to make things go better. So we had the social media and image design team, so we were able to get a pro account on Canva, and with our social media team putting out all the information on all the social medias, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything that we have. We also want to make sure that all of the information that we're sharing, the pictures, are kind of branded to us. You know, we can put our own quotes and our logo and really have that as ours instead of sharing just random memes or other organizations information. So we've been working on that. The images coming out of it are awesome. We're able to share pointed messages and create kind of what the content that we want. And we'll be growing this as we go through so that we're able to send more and more as we go through. And we are also launching a LAD Etsy shop. This is brand new, hot off the press. So in the past, for things like t-shirts, we could brand a t-shirt. We would work through a company called Bonfire. They would take a portion of the proceeds, but then donate some of it to us. But we're very limited in what we can do and the timing and how that all worked. I've done some research, and what I was able to do is create an Etsy shop that's connected to a print shop. So we don't have to buy inventory. As people want things, they can purchase shirts or any of the things that we brand with our logo or designs. It'll get sent off for printing, automatically shipped to you, so I don't have to do anything there. And then LAD will get the proceeds of it. One of the big benefits of this, two big benefits. One, we can design our own logo or design. I didn't like how we were really limited on the Bonfire designs of what we do. This allows us to do whatever we want. So we have a lot more leeway, but then we also have more leeway with pricing. So here's one of the designs that I just started looking at doing. It's a Creating Hope logo with our website address at the bottom. We have put it on 4 different types of shirts, 1 men's, 1 women's, and 2 unisex shirts. Each of those different shirts comes in multiple colors. There's like 18 colors total to choose from between them. And if you notice that first yellowish one, if you get that in a white option, it's only $10, $4 to ship. You get the shirt from start to finish, $14 to your door, shipped to you. And of that, LAD gets almost $3 of a benefit from it. So we're able to provide shirts at a lower price, get more of a amount back, and because of the unique way that the store is set up, all of the proceeds that we would get, so on that shirt it would be a $3 proceed that we'd get, we'll actually get doubled to $6 of a benefit to LAD. So we're going to look to creating more logos and more visually appealing shirts that people would want to wear and purchase that also help us in putting it on other things like maybe mugs or things that people would want. And we have complete control. We can do this without having to put any money up front. And really it's hopefully going to be something that we can do to help get more donations in based on sales. So we're going to be starting this. I've ordered a couple samples of what I've created, make sure it looks appealing and good, and then we'll blast out how you can purchase these yourself as you go through. If you purchase one shirt on the high end, if you look at the last shirt in blue, that's a men's higher tier type shirt. That blue color is $15. It's again $4 to ship. So you're still looking less than $20 for more than 95% of the shirts will be less than $20 or $20 start to finish. And then we get a between $3 and $4 profit for each one. So look for that. That'll be coming soon. As we see that this works and everything is good, we'll start filling the store with more and more that you can go at any time. And also let us know if there's things that you would love to see with the LAD logo. Again, I didn't want to go with the logo in this case, so it's a quill with the Creating Hope message on it, because that's what you all do as volunteers, is you create hope all the time with our website address to kind of push people as they're like, what is that? And being able to go through. All right, our goals for 2022. We had 6 goals that we have kind of really going to push ourselves to get to. Send 15,000 letters this year, send 3,000 cards, 5,000 new volunteers, 700 new recipients, raise $36,000, and have 5,000 stamps donated. We are now 16% of the year, 2 months through, and here's how we stand. We're actually trending. Some of these we're not quite at where our goal would be, but we know that we're ramping up throughout the year. So I'll kind of go through each, but in each of these, I really feel confident we're going to hit our goal in each of these. So for letters sent, we're 11% of the way there. We've sent 1,661 letters, just letters this year. We're down about 5% lower than what we need to be, but we know that each month we're going to be increasing that amount. So as we go through the next few months, that number should be increasing, getting closer and closer to our goal. 3,000 cards. We've actually, at the beginning of this year, the holidays that we have celebrated with our recipients so far, other than birthdays, have been pretty minor. We haven't had a lot, but we do have 2 of the biggest holidays still coming up. We have Easter and Christmas, which are our 2 biggest right now. That's really going to put the number of cards sent up there. So in the next month or 2 with Easter, as we get those prepped and out all around the world, we're probably going to be at our goal, and then we'll be exceeding that as we go through the year. I have no doubt.
Do those include celebrations and birthdays?
Yes, that is all cards. So celebrations and birthdays, yes. Volunteers, we've had 734 volunteers sign up. We're almost at the goal, so almost 15% out of that 16%. That would be our mark of where we would want to be. So we're right on pace with that. And as we go through the year and we start working on our advertising budget and reaching out and finding more and more people, I have no doubt that number is going to increase throughout the year. 700 new recipients is the goal. We've had 141 already. We are already 20% to our goal. We are on pace to do this probably by October with this rate, and I can't imagine that it's not just going to accelerate more. So we're looking really good on recipients. $36,000 raised. We're actually not far off of our goal, which is amazing. We've raised this year already $4,000 in the first 2 months, and we do have some big, we know we have money coming in later on throughout the year. So that's looking good, and we're above our pace on stamps. We're looking for 5,000 stamps. We've had 854 donated just in the last 2 months. So that is amazing. Our biggest expense as we start looking through the financials here coming up is stamps. Is one of the biggest things that we have. It's almost half our budget every year. So that's going to be huge in relieving that, helping us keep that expense down a little bit more so that we can look at more program specific goals. So we're doing excellent. I really think that we're on pace based on it being the beginning of the year, and as it's going to ramp up, that we're going to hit these goals. Even the letter sent, which looked like it was going to be near impossible, sending more than 1,000 out each month, I have no doubt that in the next couple months, we're going to be at that 1,000 letters per month. All right. This is a lot of numbers, but I wanted to go ahead. We are retooling our budget. So one of the things I've noticed in the last couple months as we've been doing the budget is it really doesn't tell the story of what we're looking at. As an example, our volunteer portal costs us about $1,300 a year. That is a one-time payment. We save money by paying on an annual basis instead of by month. So we make that payment in November, but we are budgeting the way we were before over the entire year. So what would happen is we'd have $0 spent in volunteer portal at this point for 2 months, but our budget would say that we'd be at like $220. And it would look like we're under budget. It would look like we're doing really well when really it's not. We just know that that's going to be off in the future. The same with the line for website expense down here. It's $400, but it's broken up over, we have 2 of our website addresses. We own 4 website addresses, different ways of doing lettersagainst.com, lettersagainst.org, lettersagainstdepression.com, and lettersagainstdepression.org. 2 of them renew in May for $20 a piece. 2 of them renew in September, but then our website costs are actually due in October. Again, if we did this month by month, it would look like the first 4 months we're ahead of budget, and it doesn't tell the story of really where that money is going to be due. Same with the income. we know that as we go throughout the year, things are going to ramp up. So we kind of budget a little bit less and then expect more as we go later on as we've had more people come into the organization. A couple other things about this budget. You're going to notice for contributions for individuals, July has a huge amount, $10,000 that comes in as part of the budget, where it's only been $1,000 or less the months before. The reason for this is that July is going to be a trigger month for us. Basically, we're going to look at the financials in July and say, have we met our total income goals up to now with this huge amount coming in July? If so, that will trigger us to allow these last three expenses to actually go forward. This is the rental expense, or the cost that it would be for us to get a physical location that people can go and volunteer at. This is going to be huge for being able to help me process letters, validating them, doing a lot of the admin work if we had an actual place to rent. If we are on budget by this point, then we know that we can get started and actually find the location, open up a location and run it from there. So we have rent expense, we'd have office furniture expense, and office technology expense being the computers that are needed, printers, things like that to get an office set up. If we are not at that point in July, these do not trigger, and for the year we would not do $9,000 in expenses. So instead, this would kind of roll back down to $27,000 needed for both income and expenses. So we've kind of retooled the budget to make sure that we're telling the stories we're going through, and we can actually use that budget as a tool to say, yes, we can move forward with the next piece.
This is really helpful. So it seems like either way, we're gonna succeed this year, but it gives us all the more reason to really try to make it happen. And
Yep.
now that's something that I can share too with the grant writing team.
Yes.
Right. And so that so we're going to reevaluate things in July, and I mean that's the future, right?
Yep.
Is having the brick and mortar and being able to have a physical location. I think it's going to level us up. So very excited to try to reach that goal.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. And that's why I wanted to make sure this tells the story and we know where we are on track. I mentioned the volunteer portal expense, line item 5103. That's not due till November. So then we know in November we can expect that expense in that time. When you look at the stamp expense doesn't stay the same throughout the year. When we look in April, we're going to be accelerating our costs for stamp expense because we have Easter cards that are going to send up. We know that that's going to increase our costs. When you look towards the end of the month, we're ramping up for Christmas cards. We also have Thanksgiving is a big holiday here in the U.S. that people have chosen. Halloween is huge. That's another top 3 or 4 of the celebrations. So that's going to increase our expense in that, plus with just the natural larger number of letters that we're sending. So it's still $13,000 that we're expecting to spend, but now we're actually allocating it out on a month-by-month basis of what to expect so that we can really look month by month and say, no, we're on pace, not, oh, we're below budget, but that's because a lot of these big ticket items is going to accelerate at the end of the year. I want to make sure we're giving the best information possible. Now, in retooling this, I've done a couple things. We are getting closer to having to have a more robust accounting system for what we do. When we hit $50,000 in income and receipts, so if we end up getting a grant this year and we do our normal budget and then on top of that we get a grant of $20,000, we will be in the bucket that we have to file different taxes because we've hit that $50,000 or more bucket. What I've done is this year we could potentially do that. So we have retooled how we do the accounting to make sure that we are totally compliant in how we would need to be able to send everything without question. So we've broken things up a little bit more. So in the past, as an example, website expense was anything that we paid to Squarespace, which is our website processor, who we go through. But that wasn't just website expenses. That also included the Google G Suite email accounts and the other admin fees that we pay as part of that package because we have to pay for the emails and space and things like that. So we've actually broken out, there's 2 lines, website expense, which is just the $400 of what it costs to run the website by itself, And then we have an email account expense, which is all of the associated fees and items needed in order to operate all of the email accounts that we use with the lettersagainst.org name. So we have like the fundraising, the board members have one. There's the official Letters Against organization email. So all those combined. So now we can actually break those out, so that's there. We also break out our donation bank fees. This is a brand new one. In the past, if someone donated on our website $100, we would get $97 of that, and then $3 was a fee. But what we would do is, in our books, we recorded that as a $97 donation. That's what got deposited to us. That's everything. But that doesn't really tell the story that someone donated $100 and we had to pay $3 for the bank fee. So it is split out now where the contributions individuals will be increased because the amount they donated was $100, offset by the donation of the bank fees, donation bank fees by that $3. So it shouldn't be high. Right now, I think we're at a 1% rate is what it typically is for our donation. So if we get $1,000 in, we're paying $10 in fees, which is really low for what we're doing. So, and then the last item that was added was the online shop fees. Now that we've opened the Etsy shop, there is a, like right now it's $1 that we had to pay to list everything out there. So those fees will be on there. We put $100 into the bucket, but it should truly be less than $10. But we just want to make sure as we increase and more stuff is on there, and if more and more people buy, that we have that covered. So this will be going out for approval. We just, this was finished up earlier today. We'll be getting this approved as the official budget to go kind of forward. And then this is always available if anyone has any questions or wants to see how it is. We talk about this in each meeting. We talk how we are doing based on the budget, which will be a slide or two ahead to make sure that we are telling you where every penny in the organization is going to. Sorry about that, I'm back. We had an internet outage all really quick, but is everyone still here? You can hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Kim
I just
Kim
asked
has a
if the
question.
Amazon Prime thing was on there.
Uh,
The benefits from the Amazon Prime charity donations.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't on the list. So that's considered the contributions of the corporations, which is, yes, I'm sharing my screen. So in the donations, that would fall into the bucket for corporate donations. I don't know if I'll have to double check. We might have gotten one of those in January. Usually they're a few $100s now, so it's amazing. That's always a great way for those that don't know that you can go to smile.amazon.com. If you purchase from Amazon, choose LAD as your favorite charity. And then just for buying your normal stuff, it automatically sends a portion of the sales as a donation to us. All right, so bank account balances, where I was kind of going before the internet decided it was going to die. $4,450 in our checking account. That is cash available to purchase and pay for things. And we have $58 that is due on our credit card due to timing at the end of the month that didn't get paid with the last sweep. We do pay our credit card in full each month though, so there is 0 interest fees ever on it. It is literally just another way that we can, we actually use it to purchase our subscriptions, any of the things that's on a revolving, like our website, anything that's on a normal payment cycle each month we put on there. We get a reward check based on it by the end of the year of a few $100s that we can use as cash back on it. So
Because you got knocked off, do you have to hit record again?
no, thank you for the update though. But no, luckily I'm not recording through Zoom. It's through an external program. So it actually caught, when you all watch it back, you'll see I'm literally sitting there talking to myself like, oh great, this went out, and like panicking, trying to get back in. So all good. Thank you though. That's a great reminder. Cause yeah, you have to restart the recording. Donations. For February, we had $358 in individual donations. That's individual donors going to our website or donating through Facebook. $1,600 and $1,668.46 in corporation donations. We'll talk about that in a moment. And $213 $12.67 in in-kind donations. And what that is anyone that donates a stamp or an envelope, when we get it, that's recorded as an asset. So we're recording that in as a donation. Even if it's one stamp, we're recording it on the books as a 58-cent donation, and then expensing that out each month based on usage. So and currently, in-kind donations is anything that is donated to us that we would normally pay money to do. So if you donate index card artwork, that wouldn't be an in-kind donation because we wouldn't be purchasing that. We just wouldn't send it out if we didn't have it. But if you send envelopes or stamps or return address labels, anything that we would use that we would have to buy gets put in as an in-kind donation as an asset and then expensed out as used. And all that is against $1,250 in expenses that we paid out from the account in February. We talked about our corporate sponsors. These are six corporate sponsors that have donated money to LAD for this year. Typically what this is, in each of these cases, they have programs where if employees of theirs volunteer, they can record their volunteer hours, and the company will pay a donation out based on the number of hours. So Advent Health is one of our big partners that we work with. The Gap is one that we started working with last year. As everyone recorded their hours at the end of the year, we were able to get a grant from them a couple times this year of almost $500 from the Gap. Comcast has a program like that as well, which I don't know what that is, unfortunately. I meant to look it up beforehand, but that company, their employees volunteer with us as well, and they send that. AT&T, there are a couple of volunteers that donated their time. We just got I believe it was $700 sponsorship grant donation from them. And then Disney for myself. Disney has two programs that I take advantage of. One is any money that I donate to LAD, they will match 100% up to $25,000 each year. And then the second is all of my volunteer time gets recorded, and then they will make a $2,000 donation later on in the year per person that donates, puts their time in to us. So we usually have two people at Disney, myself and one other, that hit that milestone for hours. So we can expect later on for Disney as well about $4,000 from them. So we expect this number to grow. We've worked with a couple different companies in February where we'll get donations from them probably in March or April. So we'll see more of these, and we'll get this on our website as well as we retool that. That's another one of the projects going on to kind of demonstrate and show our corporate partners that kind of make it possible for us to do what we do. All right, some boring financial information. First thing is our income statement. Simply, this just tells for the month of February alone, February 1st to February 28th, how much money cash did we take in and how much money cash did we put out. So total income or donations for the month of February was $2,240. And the number of expenses was $1,250. So in theory, we had a net income or net gain of almost $1,000 for the month. And that's to be expected because a lot of our expenses that we incur, the bigger expenses occur later on in the year. So we're kind of building up that buffer now so that we don't have issues later on. Some of the big numbers from this, the corporation contributions was $1,600 this month. That is definitely higher than we were expecting. Some of these corporate sponsors, we didn't even know they had these programs. They're kind of surprised when just a check shows up and we're like, okay, that's great. For our expenses, stamp expense was just about 50% of our costs, $575 when all is said and done for February. Another big one is our advertising expense. We just started advertising so that we can reach more people. We're doing it through social media. So we're kind of allocating about $250 a month to getting the message out about LAD, something that we haven't done very much at all. So we spent about 189 for the month, a little bit less as we started to work and play around with the targeting to make sure that we're getting them very effective. And that's one of the reasons that we really had a banner month in terms of people finding us and signing up for letters. So this next one is what's called a comparative income statement. And so what we want to do is, yeah, we can see it, but I want to tell the story of how this has grown over the past 3 years. So the first column of numbers is from January 1st to February 28th. So the first part of this year, the first 2 months of this year. The months next to it are last year this time, and then 2 years ago in 2020 at this time. One of the things I want to point out before we go, the blue boxes really don't tell the correct story because we were able to get a $2,000 COVID grant at the beginning of the year last year to purchase technology solutions. In order to do that, I had to donate $2,000 of my own money to cover it so that we could purchase it, and then they reimbursed us later in the year. So if we take that out, because we would not have done that otherwise, because it ended up being a free set of technology that we could purchase, if we take it out, really it's about $2,100 and total income $2,200. So this year so far we've raised $4,000. Last year it was about half that, a little over $2,000. The year before that we had only raised $337.
Oh my gosh.
And this was just before COVID. So COVID, obviously we had a huge growth from there with everyone staying home and then looking for virtual opportunities. So this really shows, I mean, from 2 years ago, we're more than 10 times where we were there.
This is fantastic. I mean, it shows so clearly the growth
Yep.
that is happening, and it's really exciting.
Yes. And then when we look at expenses, the same thing. When we look our stamp expense alone, we've paid this year alone almost $1,400 in stamp expense. It was over $400 last year and then $300 the year before. So the growth has been really getting there in terms of the number that we're sending. We've sent more than double the amount of letters alone, not including how much extra cards and all. So we're doing really good there. Again, if we take out that $2,000 here, we really had expenses of $1,400. So our expenses went from $1,200, which we were not doing well. For those that know me, I was really starting to get concerned right about this time that we weren't going to be able to keep funding the program at this rate, because we had $300 come in and we were paying out $1,200. So we were $1,000 less just for the first 2 months. Now we're consistently higher in what we're getting in, paying out. And we went from $1,200 to $1,400 to now $3,400 in expenses just the past couple months. So the rate of growth in what we're getting in and paying out is keeping the same. We're just getting bigger. We have a lot more expenses and things to pay for. Greeting card expense was our second biggest expense. That one obviously is going up now as we're purchasing into cards. 2 years ago, that was zero. We only did, at that time, this was before our celebrations program, we only did Christmas or holidays, the holiday period in December. Then we started our celebrations, but it started off slow because we had to get people to opt into it and choose their celebrations. So it was only $150. And now we spent $560 on greeting cards, whether it's birthday cards or celebration cards. So that's definitely increasing. But as expected, there's no surprises there. So really trending well. We can see that kind of growth as we go year over year. So now we go to our budget year to date. So this is what our actual expenses or contributions are versus what we budgeted out. So right off the top, for total income, we've raised $4,000. To be on pace, we'd be at 35. So we're about 500 more than budget, which is great. We've raised more money than what we were expecting. And on the flip side, for our expenses, we've spent 3,400 out of 3,700. So we're about $300 under budget with the new retooled budget. So we're doing well there, which means that we're better than budget by about $800 total. So we're doing good here. Income, we're finding we have less individual contributions than expected, but that's been made up by the number of corporate contributions. So we have about $1,000 more in corporate volunteer or corporate donations than expected, but we're about 500 short on individuals. So in our in-kind contributions for the year, we've had $521 worth of stamps and envelopes donated. So we're just above pace on that. So everything here is going well. Everything's about on pace for what we expect. The only thing is we haven't used our promotional items expense that we expected. This is for anything that we would print that has the LAD logo that we're doing to promote what we do. We haven't done any of that printing yet. I expect as we have the shirts being made, we'll use that expense more and more so that we have giveaway items when we do at events, whether it's pencils or any of that stuff that we can brand that we can do to promote LAD. So everything else though is right in line, so there's no surprises here. Our balance sheet, so this tells if we were to disband today, the balance sheet would tell us how much money we have versus how much we owe in liabilities. So we have $5,451 in assets. That's our $4,400 in our checking account, the $58 we owe on our credit card. We have inventory of almost $1,000 in stamps, and then our office supplies that we have on hand for our envelopes and stuff is about $121. This is offset, and I've talked about this each time just to be transparent, with our liability, which is our note payable. This is our loan that I gave to LAD 8 years ago now to start the business. This was to create the organization, all the fees with the state of Florida, all of the federal fees that need to be done, the 501c3 application, everything to get LAD off the ground before it was a 501c3. It was a very tight rope. I had to work with it. I couldn't donate it because it wasn't a 501c3, so it did come from a loan. These are very super low interest payable. You see the next line, interest payable, for this whole time. We're talking 8 years. It's $567 to carry this. One of the things when you do that for a corporation, we could not get a loan when we first started because we weren't an organization. So the interest has to be kept at a lower rate than what you would get. So we made it some low number. And actually this past year, we even lowered the interest rate that's payable on it even lower, just because we do have purchasing power now. We're still nowhere near, but we're not looking to make money off of this. So eventually, sometime down the road, when we get some major grant, we can pay that off. But until then, this will just sit on the books. I have no interest in pulling that money out from the organization unless we are good. And I would never want that to come out of individual donors' pockets either. So it would really need to be a grant that would wash that away. So for now, it just sits on the books. It does nothing except gaining a little bit of interest year over year. But in the wanting to be transparent, that's what that is there. So I think that is it. So that is the full update of where we are in February. Just as a recap, I mean, we're trending in a very positive way. Everything that we're seeing, the number of letters we're able to get out, people signing up, donations, everything is increasing at the right rates that we're able to sustain this. It really has been a juggling act more to try to get some of the admin side pieces done that are held here. So processing all the letters and doing all the emails and validating service hours for people that need them for their organizations. That's really been the toughest part of the growth, which hopefully by the end of the year we'll be able to alleviate with a physical location. And then we'll get those in the community here in the Kissimmee area able to volunteer time to help read the letters, to make sure they're safe, to help mail them out, recording in the portal, all of that, being able to help all around. So with a physical location, that's going to help out. Plus we can hold events and stuff there too. So really that's where we're hoping to go throughout the year, but we'll pivot and change as it is. If we end up not being able to raise enough, then what we would do is just pivot away. One of the things I do want to point out real quick, we've raised $4,000 this year, which is, if you looked here, is about twice what we did last year. If we're on that same pace of about twice as much, we raised $20,000 last year, which was what our budget was. What we were looking for was 20,000. So we're actually above pace of hitting that 40,000. We're looking at 40,000 when we're really looking to raise 36. So all of the trends, everything that shows we're going through, I think we're going to get there, and I think we'll be able to open that physical location and take that next step through. But we'll evaluate as we go throughout the year. So.
That is so exciting. So exciting.
Yes. Now,
And that'll be, it could be, it could also be a press opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
For the area. And yes, that's all good things.
Yes. Oh,
Super exciting.
it would open up a lot of additional capabilities that we have. Because one of the things, I want to get involved with more things. I want to do more things that aren't just sending out the letters, or a lot of the things that just take a lot of time. So I'm trying to find efficiencies here and there so that I can participate with, like Kim is putting together a group to do the kind of revamp our website, make sure it has all the information that we want on it, that it's concise, that it has everything there. It's a one-stop shop that you can find everything. And I'd love to be more involved in it, but I really need to delegate a lot of those things because there's just not enough time.
And if we keep continuing to grow, right, we're already sending out, 32 letters a day? That's a lot.
Yeah.
So if that number, increases, I think it'll be really helpful. So with a physical location, would the letters be delivered directly to that location, or would they still go through the P.O. box?
They would still go through the P.O. box, and that'll give some flexibility for the ability for those to pick up. Now, the goal is going to be is hopefully that location is really near the P.O. box. So one of the tasks that people that are there would be able to go and pick up the mail before coming in and being able to work it. But that would be the hope is, it wouldn't, I wouldn't want, it's so hard to change the address of where people send stuff. It's so ingrained, like it becomes what it is. And I don't want to create, sending it to two different places when really having the one.
And the P.O. box kind of even like it has some anonymity to it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's a P.O. box. Yeah. So that's good. I was just curious. Excellent.
Yep. And that's also really quick on the P.O. box. I don't know what happened, but we got a big discount on it this year. So last year it had increased and it was $408 for the year for everything. And we have a very large mailbox because we get a lot of mail in. There's some days over the weekend I'll go and we have 100+ letters waiting to be picked up. And we go every single day. So it was $408. We went and paid because that's one of those expenses. We pay it in January. So it's actually, we pay 100% of it right off the start and then we don't pay the rest of the year. It was only $283 this year. So it was like $125 less than it's been. Now I have a great rapport with them. They love me. They love what we do. So it may have been that we got a discount that way, but it was definitely a lot less expensive than expected.
Great.
So I'd love to answer any questions. So we're right at that 9 o'clock time. I figured it was going to take about an hour for the update. I could go back to any of the slides. I can answer questions about the program, anything that you have. If you have a question, go ahead and you can go ahead and unmute, ask that now. Love to go through. And I'm here pretty much for the next half hour or more to discuss through. But then if you need to drop as well for time, I want to just be proactive and thank you. I appreciate you joining. The video of this will be uploaded to YouTube and put out there so that anyone that wants to watch it or review any of the pieces, pull it back up and look at the numbers, you're more than welcome to do so. And you can always email me to ask any questions you have. So I can start off with Kimberly. Did you have any questions? Because I saw you come off mute.
Yeah, I don't see Dee Dee in group anymore, so but we talked last month, I thought it was, about doing a volunteer of the year for her.
Yes, so that is still on the table. Honestly, it's been a crazy couple months that I have not finished that, but with her not here, I can say that. I am looking to have a special plaque given over to her, definitely for all of her efforts, but just being an amazing, the number of letters. She is almost, I think she's within a few dozen people
she
left.
Was here earlier.
She was within a couple dozen people of being able to write to every single person that we have active in our list. Like she's written to many people twice. Like I think she has over 1,500 letters sent. and we only have 1,000 active people right now because some of the people she wrote to we don't write to anymore, or she's written multiple times. So I mean, it's amazing what she's done over the amount of time. So we definitely want to recognize that. That's absolutely.
So Bob, I do have a question.
Yeah.
And it's about kind of like a social experiment that I think would be interesting to see if we got a turnout from it. So I am attending. I see it as a huge networking event. It is a punk rock cruise out of Miami, and it's a 5-day cruise. And an organization that I know very well. It's called Punk Rock Saves Lives.
Yep.
We have an opportunity to like maybe even partner with them. They are going to be tabling and and handing out materials and things like that. Very similar missions. And so what I was thinking is if I could get my hands on a business card order of like, let's say 500, I could absolutely distribute those during this cruise and see, because on the test one that I created in Canva, the one that looks like a little envelope, it says on the back, to volunteer, here's a link, or to receive a letter, here's the link. So I really feel like it would be a good opportunity and a good experiment to see if the business, like the, actual old school business card idea kind of works.
Yep.
So I wanted to talk to you about that and, kind of hear your thoughts on it.
100%. So any opportunity that we have for any events, and that goes for absolutely anyone on this call as well, if you are attending an event and you're willing to do that, we can absolutely design. We have built into the budget multiple different ways that we can account for that to make sure that, because we do want to get our message out, especially when you're going to an event that's so pointed to what we do like that, being able to reach those people are key. We need to reach those people because those are going to be people that are like, oh my God, I love what you do. I want to help. Or, you know what, I know people that can use your service, and talk them through, because truly any way that people, I would love being able to, because more people would sign up. Like I want to help as many people, and then, but if others are like, hey, I'd love to help others too, and sign up, it just gives us that exposure that we really need to keep growing. So absolutely, we can work together to, we have an account with, I think it's called Overnight Flyers, or there's some sort of company. And what they do is they specialize in, we can design in Canva whatever we want on whatever size medium we want. So if you want like the little brochures that you can hand out that are more like postcard size, or if business card size, whatever size we want to do, we can then go ahead and do that as part of our either advertising expense or printing expense or promotional expense to make sure that we're spreading that. And then you'd be able to just pass it along. And
that would be great. And just as a side note, I've been going on this music cruise. I've been on it 5 times, so this will be the 6th time. So a lot of the people on the cruise, I mean, we know each other very well just through social media, and I think that a lot of people are going to like talk about, Letters Against Depression. I donated to your Facebook fundraiser. I see the cool stuff that you're doing. That's so awesome. And I want to be able to say, yeah, here you go. Here's our card. If you want to receive letters, if you know somebody who wants to receive letters, if you want to write, super fun. If you're artsy, and then be able to kind of, hand them out.
Yep.
They actually even have it's almost like a trade show almost, and they call it a swag swap. So people design like their own giveaways, right? And it's a super, it's just like a big family. And I really feel like there's people on that boat I think that we would get both from that. So really interested to see, and I really appreciate your support with that. And I'll work with you to see about placing an order, because it's happening at the end of March.
Yeah, and if you're interested, and they do quick turnarounds. That's the whole reason we've used them, because in the past we've had requests. We had one earlier about 2 months ago. We were able to include something in gift bags that they were giving at one of the pageants in West Florida, and we had bookmarks made that have all the information, and they were like laminated and really nice. And so we have that already designed and set. So I can send you the what we did for that, the mock-ups. They're just regular, and they came in a great box, but they're just bookmarks, but they have the information how to sign up as both a volunteer, how to receive letters, and kind of they looked really nice. So we could do that,
great.
whether we do the bookmark idea or you use that kind of, we could also use that design and then just reorder on a different medium. But yeah, we could do absolutely.
That sounds really
And the prices are, I mean, really not bad at all at this place. Like we were able to get, I mean, we had hundreds of them because they gave them to every person that was buying tickets to go to it. And it was within budget of what we were looking at. So
great.
absolutely.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I'll send that information to you after this, and that way you can look and see, and we can we could still do that idea and create something new in Canva, but we can make it specific to that. Absolutely. We are totally with that. So perfect. Rachel, did you have a question?
Yeah, it was about the Etsy shop. I don't know how it works, like if people can buy that or not in the US, and how shipping would work with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we've done is absolutely, if you are in the US, that's perfect. It's a flat $4 shipping fee for whatever you get. And if you get multiple shirts, say you find 2 designs you like that are from the same place that we have printed, the shipping is actually less. I think it's like, it goes down to $6, so it's $2 for each additional shirt or something. But we will be debuting that store here shortly, and we'll have that link out on, we'll put it on Facebook and really get that out there when we're going live. I pause on sending that out now just because with this all being brand new, I want it to be the guinea pig, and I don't want people to pay for things and find out that it's horrible quality. I don't think it is. Like, this is typically how people are printing their shirts and getting those out. So I'll have my shirts this week, and then hopefully we'll be opening that up. But we'll be putting a whole bunch of stuff too on the store. But yeah, you would be able to just go to this Etsy shop. You would purchase.
What if you're not in the US? Like, how would the shipping work then?
That's a good question. I think in that case, then you end up paying whatever their international rate is, and I will make it a point to find out. I think it costs obviously a little bit more, but they still ship internationally. I just don't know what that rate is. What country were you looking for?
Canada.
Canada. So I will say this. If it comes to the point where they can't send to Canada, and I would do this for anyone, let me know. What I can do is order it at the rack rate that they have it printed. I can have it sent here, and then I can send it to you as well. If not, so there would always be a way that anyone would be able to get this in their hands, and we would try to make it as not expensive to send as possible. That brings up a good point, though. I have an idea that might be, by the time we launch this, that there may actually, because what happens with Etsy, for those who don't know, when you purchase this, these aren't in inventory anywhere. They get printed by who I choose as the printer on that run. So if I could create or choose a printer that's in Canada, and then have it where there's an international bucket that if you're from Canada and you want to save money, here's the shirts that are designed and set, and then you can purchase from that printer. They would print and just send from Canada. So that's a great idea. But I'll double check on that. I'm still learning a lot about the this whole print and ship store piece. But the goal would definitely be to keep those costs as low as possible. I think that was one of the things with Bonfire. They weren't expensive, but it's still, I don't want to see t-shirts that are over $20 a piece and then you're paying the $4 or $5 for shipping. And then I want them to be easily accessible to people.
Yeah, it's about accessibility. Yeah. I agree. I do think Bonfire was kind of a good start just to, you know what I mean? Like just to get some stuff going. So yeah, no, but I think that'll be really good.
Yeah. Let me check real quick if I'm able to order. So what I'll do, Rachel, is I will double check that, and that'll be part of when we put out the release on this. and that's one of the things I need to keep more in mind is that, I mean, we do have volunteers that are all over the world, and everyone reaches out about the shirts and stuff like that. So we'll make sure that we have that listed when we send it out of what that process is for if you're not in the U.S.
Okay.
And did that answer all your questions about that, or did you have other things as well that popped up?
No, that was good. I was just wondering about that because I think the shirt idea is cool. So yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully I'm trying to find the bonfire ones was really just our logo, which I love our logo. I love it a ton. Like, it's a great logo. But on a shirt, I want to have more messages. So as we go further, I really want to have, like, try to find a way to incorporate some of our messages of like, you are not alone or you matter into an interesting design that, again, you can wear in kind of an outward message to others while still not overtly like letters against with no other context around. So we'll definitely be playing around now that we can create this for nothing and put it on and be able to, as I learn more and more about digital design, to support this.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions, any comments, or even suggestions? Anything about the program anyone else have?
I just think this is a really cool program. Like, I just discovered it, like, well, in February, and I've been writing letters, and it's been really cool and really helpful to me, and it's been really great. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's why I created this charity, because when I was going through my low points, I wrote letters to myself in my journal. And I found I had that connection to healing, a connection to writing. And the more I wrote, the more I was healing internally. So this allowed me to really get the message out to others and try to help others while also being a healing mechanism for me. So I really connect with the writing, and I love hearing that others do as well. When I first started this, and I say this all the time, I didn't think anyone would ever want to write with me. I always expected that I would do every letter that would be written, and I would just dedicate my life to writing letters. And more as I did this, people would come up to me like, I want to write too. And I'm all like, you're crazy. Are you sure? This is my burden to bear. Are you sure? And everything that we've designed, the portal, everything I've basically have had to find a way, well, how can we incorporate others and keep things private? And, things like the portal I built myself, trying to keep expenses down, and really, because we do something unique, the template's not out to do it, so why don't we invent it? And so I'm glad that you connect to it, and I love the letters and everything. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yes, welcome.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Dory, Rob, I just got a question about the sponsorships and partnerships.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to do the website, so we were thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
The corporate sponsors you mentioned, is it just time, or do they do time and money too?
Time and money. So in some of the cases, it's funny, they don't tell you what it is when we get it, so I'm unable to really bucket. But in some cases, they do matching where the employee donates to the company in the amount that they want to send to us, and then they just send us a check for that plus the additional amount. So they handle, some of them do that, and I think that's what the PSEG one was. But again, they don't give good reports. They don't give really what it is, except for who it's from, volunteer-wise. But yeah, some of them have been matching donations, and some are based on the number of hours that they do. We just did an event with the financial one, Ally Financial. And they're donating $25 for every person that volunteers with us that does at least an hour, and we're past like 50, so we're already looking at $1,250 or more dollars that they're donating. So it's those type of things where if their employees do service time or volunteer time with it, that they give a certain amount per whoever records their hours for it.
Well, that's a nice way to get money.
Yes.
And I know, Doreen, you've talked about partnering with Punk Rock Saves Lives Forever now.
I know, I gotta set it up, but I think this cruise, right? Because I want
Right.
to see the people and, really, really sell it, but they are, so they'll be, tabling, at the event, and, I've already kind of, bounced the ideas around, but I think that it could be a really good partnership. Yeah, because
What would that look like, though? Like, I've just been thinking about it, like, to put on the website, to say, these are our partners, these are who we partner with. What are we exchanging with them?
I wouldn't see it as transactional like that. I think it is, they are providing services, right, for the punk rock community, and they are, dedicating their lives to helping punk rockers with mental health issues. So we would actually be a resource to them, and we could be something that could be recommended for, like, let's say, if somebody's going through a really hard time, or they're feeling really lonely, right, and they reach out to Punk Rock Saves Lives, they could forward that lead, right, and say, hey, like, this program, we know, the people who are involved, we think you would really benefit from it, and they could be a referral service for us. So I think it would be more like that. It would be like we would just be a resource that they could reference.
Right. I remember we just talked about it a while ago, and I just wanted to refresh. That's what I was thinking. I just wanted to double check, because
Of course,
I want them to be on board. Of course, I want everyone to be on board with
I
us.
know,
Yes.
I know, and that's and I, like I said, I think that it's just going to be, it's like I said, this cruise thing, it's just such a networking event. It really is, and people are just, it's gonna. I think it's gonna go really well, and everybody
Will you
loves.
let me know what you want
Smiling.
on the website so we can promote that too?
Yes. If it's like anything like I don't think it would be really like official, right? But the whole purpose of it is just to spread the word and spread the excitement about it. And I think it's going to be a good experiment. So we'll see how it goes.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, thank you, Kim.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone. I appreciate it. As I mentioned at the beginning, so what the plan is that I'm not sure if we'll do this live like this. We might going forward, but we'll definitely be recording it and putting it out there so that everyone has access right around the 5th or 6th of each month. That way, I know that with us being a worldwide, everyone around, it's really hard. Even now, those on the West Coast just got home when we start at 8 from work on if they work on Sundays, but or across the world. So, but if there's nothing else, I want to thank you all for your time. I thank you for coming in and hearing about what we've been doing and the amazing direction we're going. I'm so optimistic, and I can't wait to see what the next few months are going to be like. I appreciate all of you. This is amazing, and I just want to tell you all have a great night. Thank you, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob, for all you do. We appreciate you too.